Is on.
Like even just doing our breaths and our pauses for me is like enough to like be like, oh, time to live stream, you know.
Yeah.
So anyways, what I was trying to say is that the backing has to come from either one of two places, right? If we're talking about actual dollar value, the dollar value is for market trading, right, comes from either money that we budget and put into it, or it comes from someone in the community or network or public going and buying the token and putting their own value externally, right? There's no other value. Does that make sense? There's only two places that the value can come from. Are we on the same page?
Yeah, money that we budget, or what do you say? The second was somebody
like somebody in your community or network, externally coming in and buying the token on the market externally, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the two ways of creating value are, one, incentives and information to the community to buy the token, right? So it's like, okay, look, we have this token. So if every single session we actually distribute the token, as part of the session in the follow-up in real time, live broadcast, and everyone can see it, if people actually were watching or people watch it in the future, it's like, okay, this is interesting. Maybe I'll go to this link and actually get some of the tokens, and maybe they'll be worth something in the future, right? So that's part of it. It's just like telling people about it over and over and over again, and just broadcasting it and getting incentives and encouraging people in our network and community, right? So the other one is obviously our budget. Okay, it's time for our first pause. 5 seconds. All right. So the other one obviously is just like our budget. So what's interesting about the budget is that if you tell our workers, okay, you're getting this token, right? So the token is coming to you. You get the token. It's the highest. Ideally, it would be the highest value token. Besides, like, upfront. So obviously upfront's always more valuable, but that's getting paid, right? So you're getting this token. It's the highest value token, and it's like a power token or whatever. And you basically tell them, look, let's agree to take a certain percentage of our pay and put it into the token that we know we are being paid with. Right? So you're earning the token, you're getting the pay the token, it's equal to your time, and so if you reduce the total amount of upfront pay you're getting, and instead you're getting this power token or the reward token, right, or both, basically if you put a small percentage, like you could start with literally, you could even start with 0.5%, and then you could start with go up to 1% or 2.5%. Even 5% is a pretty small amount that everybody could be saying, okay, of your pay, we're just going to reduce everyone's pay by 5% in the budget to go to the token. And in that way, it's like, instead of it being like, okay, we have to budget this separately, if we all agree to put a certain percentage of our pay into the token that we're also getting paid with, so it's not like a loss of value because we still get the token, right? Then we're backing our token up with our time and our commitment, our budget,
Yes,
so
this could be.
The other option, of course, is like,
this could be an option, but
a certain percentage of the budget or whatever, and obviously you can budget separate line items, you can also budget separate line items. So you could say that the certain percentage of the budget on top of the value, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Or,
so we
are a certain percentage.
All right, we're at the breath. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to exhale. And then inhale together. And exhaling. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So does that make sense? So there's basically, within the budget option, there's 3 models that I can think of how you could do it.
Can I
a percentage within people's pay, a percentage on top of people's pay, or it could be just a separate budget line item.
Can I interrupt you something regarding the rhythm?
Yeah.
You know what's really cool with the breath is that when we work and we get excited and we're like into the work and stuff, you just forget to the breath that you take, and they're very small and very. I mean, you don't breathe well. I noticed this, and doing this breath, it's amazing because you're like, okay, do a nice breath, just sing. I love it.
It's transformational at the most rudimentary level. Like, I don't want to go through a whole bunch of trainings, whatever, but you could list a million different things that are important for functional meetings, and always the number one is breathing. There is nothing more important than breathing when it comes to decision making and group problem solving. But more importantly than breathing, and what's so special about our breath system is when you breathe together as a group, it synchronizes the mind and the conscious frequencies of interaction with all of our group mind so that we are all in sync.
Nice.
Big. Anyways, we're at another pause, so 5 seconds. Wait.
Yeah, I think we're now the deposits in 1 minute. I don't know what.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's at 39. Yeah, one more
39
minute.
then.
Yeah. I'm still learning the ropes. Learning the ropes.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to
or you know what could be an option, Jay?
what?
A percentage of the actual base pay instead of the budget, right? So it's
Well, yeah,
not,
that's what I was talking about. A percentage of the base pay. Yeah.
yeah, but
So
the actual outflow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was intending to
Okay.
point out here. But yes, instead of the budget, it could be like a percentage of actual pay and outflow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be a cost for the
But
organization, but it's an investment, right?
Yeah, but it needs to be budgeted either internally to the workers agreeing to put the money out, or it needs to be budgeted as a separate line item, right? So either way, it needs to be in the budget and agreed upon somehow, some way, right? That's just required. All right,
Yeah,
so now we're going to pause 5 seconds. All right. Yeah, so I like that, the actual pay outflow. Another thing that it could be is a small percentage of income flow. So, and that's almost maybe a better way, because if it's a small percentage of our income and our revenue, that means that it's actually taken out of our actual accounts receivable when we're doing the tracking for the budget, the payroll, when we actually track how much work we did in the actual client work. And then that makes client work, the more client work we do and the actual money we're bringing in is what creates the value that's going into our power and our rewards.
Yeah.
Because it all comes down to doing client work, right? I mean, if we want fun, then we want value, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I think this is cool, but when we have other sources of income than Ambos, which is Amcas, which is you now. So the way that
yeah,
the way that I think we could budget that is through the time budget. So it's budgeted based on the time budget, because the time budget is more realistic to the actual payroll outflow. So we could start with that and see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
We would add that into the time budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way. I mean, if we want to do small amounts, right? For example, we could say, okay, 1% of income from client work, and 1% of outflow from actual pay time budget, right? So in that context, it's like it happens on both sides. Also, we are at the 15-minute mark.
We're at the 12-minute mark, I think.
Well, no, I mean in our actual work flow, we're at the 15-minute mark. But yeah, we are at, for this, we're at the stretch. Yeah, so we're doing our stretch, 12-minute stretch, or 30-second stretch. All right. So
So I mean, yes. I mean, I think this could be like a I don't know. We could call it like the network equity fee or something at the beginning. Then obviously we hope that the market will through demand and supply will we're going to be successful. So there's going to be demand and supply so determine the price, the value. But at the beginning, yes, I think we can try with like a 1% fee first. Like let's say we could try this option first. Like option we would try first, which is I think is the one that wouldn't affect the budget. And since these tokens at the beginning, especially, would be distributed only by the workers, would be option one. Would say a percentage of the total base pay fiat distribution, right? Distribution, right? So, for example, the distribution this month was about $600. We could say something like. Are you hearing me, Jay?
yeah, the percent of total base
Yeah.
pay fiat distribution. Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3%, right? So it would be $18, right? $18. Not much. Then we could also. I mean, would it be possible to back it also through the? I don't know, also through the base token, the back pay. I mean, for each payroll process, there would be a percentage that goes into the value of the token.
Yeah, I mean the main question really comes down to like, why doesn't the funds and the value go into the back pay token as opposed to the power token? Like, why are we prioritizing the power token as the primary token, right? So we are at a pause, quick 5 seconds. All right. So let's just like go through it. So you have your upfront pay. So I'm in line 75, right? Upfront pay. Then you have your back pay, right? Then you've got your individual equity. So usually we've always said that back pay should be the highest priority. But what we're saying here is that before upfront pay, you have basically the power token. The interesting thing about the power token, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the model that we are basically proposing is that the power token
Let's call it the network token. Let's call it the
network equity token.
Yeah, network equity token.
Okay, the network equity token, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the interesting things about the network equity token, which is, basically we call it our power payroll, right? The base power pay, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. The network equity token, same difference, right? But the point is that really, in terms of distributing power, this token is not intended to be sold. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's no intention or goal to sell this token. It is about power.
Yeah, it's
Where
about
it's
the
we
shares.
want everybody
Yeah.
to hold on to their power because their power is extremely valuable. There's nothing more valuable than power because power determines the budget, right? So if you want money, the most important thing to get that money is having power, right? Are you on the same page with me?
Yeah, and exactly for me it makes perfectly sense. This would be a token that it's not for selling or for making money. This is another. It's like the shares that you have inside the cooperative shares. So the more you
No, but
work,
it's not the shares you have inside the co-op. It's the distribution of power in the co-op. The shares of the co-op are the back pay and the individual equity and like all of our normal jurisdictional equity value. Those are the shares. The power token is your power in voting to determine how much money goes to you and the rest of the community based on your on the decision making. Does that right? Are you understanding?
yeah, I do understand the
So
difference.
so for me, let's see, are we at another one here? Still learning this. 48. Oh yeah. Okay. So we are at a breath. Okay, a breath. So exhale and inhale together. Beautiful. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I think it would make sense for our power token to actually be the most valuable of all of our tokens. Because the idea would be that it's the token that nobody should sell. It's the token that holds all the value and power to be able to distribute it everywhere else. In other words, you could use the base power token itself as the foundation to the backing the reward token. So you put the value into the power, and then you use that power token as the foundation for your backing of your actual reward token. Right? You can back your reward token with your power token. You can back all the tokens with the power token, right? The back pay, the individual equity, and everything, right? That the power token is basically could be a foundational in the context where no one's really supposed to sell it. They could sell it, right? Because they just want the money, but it's much more valuable in relationship to the power than the money.
Correct.
So every time, like let's say we're all getting equal tokens, right? We all get equal tokens. So therefore, if there's a bunch of money in that, I have very little. Like if you're in a high jurisdiction place, you have very little incentive to sell your power tokens because they are basically disconnected from your relationship of paying your bills, right? Because the power token is not going to pay my bills, right? Because everyone's getting equal power tokens. So therefore, in relationship to somebody who's in a smaller jurisdiction, they might have a higher incentive to sell their power and instead take the money. And then if they do that, that would have somebody who's in a larger jurisdiction have more power to be able to oversee decision making in the budget and other things like that, right? So I think that makes sense.
Makes sense. So some clarifications first. So first of all, I think that it would be very good we just introduce one new token. So I wouldn't have a reward token. I would just concentrate on the network equity token, which we track at the end of each sessions by the time related to where you at and 2x, right? Then we have the participation, the PP, right, from 0 to
We're at a 5-second pause. 5
5,
seconds.
3.
Okay. And then we
Yeah.
have a break 3 minutes.
Then
Is
we
that
have. Yeah.
well, actually,
Then we have the break in 3.
we're going to take a break, and then we're supposed to be wrapping up.
Okay.
Keep going though.
Yeah. So I would make it simple. I would introduce just this power token, network equity token, right, for the BT and the main session. So the what you get is the time, how much time you spent in the session, the participation level, the score, so based on the positions that you took, and so the score, and then you'd have the strikes, right? If there's strikes, if you were late and things like that, would be counted, and then you have the multiplier depending on the universe, but that's for the main session, right? So this gives you the the amount of network equity token, power token that you get for each session, right? So what then it's important, I think, is a place where you can actually use those power tokens. I mean, you get the power tokens, and what do they determine? They determine that you have more decision making power. But where does this happen?
You're asking me.
Yeah, nothing new.
Um, well, obviously during the main sessions, right? So there's two things that the power token represents, right? One is that when you attend the main sessions, you are empowered, right? So when you're at the main session, you are empowered, because if you don't show up, you don't have any power, right? Are we on the same page there?
Mhm. Yeah, of course.
So from there, you basically are saying that, and we're coming up on a break right now, and we're at 20 minutes overall on the overall topics, right? But basically, you're saying that, okay, the people who show up week after week after week, full moon after full moon, Mercury session, planetary sessions, they are the ones who are actually making the decisions, but they're also being issued the vast majority of all of these tokens and this value. So then let's say one day a group of people come in and you have say you have 20 people who are like core members and attending all these planetary sessions and all of these normal session. And then one day you have 100 people come in. So instead of the 20 people, you have 120 people. And these additional 100 people are like, we want to vote and take all the money and distribute it over here and do all these decisions that obviously the 20 people don't agree with. But based on our model, those 100 people could have majority vote and take over control and power within a single session and decide what's going to happen with the money. Does that make sense? Under our protocols for decision making, majority vote and having 100 people instead of 20 people would allow you to basically take over. But under our spectrum of decision making models, if you're not showing up week after week, year after year, you're not getting that equity value. And so you don't have the power to just come in one day and do whatever the hell you want to with a big group of people. You can't do that because you have to show up week after week, month after month, year after year to hold the power, in essence, of the purse, right? Of deciding where the money's going. So another way of looking at it is like every 2.5 years, you could also do it every 6 months or even monthly. You have the transfer of the value tokens, right? The tokens transfer over. So you have a new fresh start and you can restart the value moving forward in a new leap year. And so new people getting involved start equally to everybody else, right? And so then it's an incentive for people to get involved and stay involved because they have equal power and equal vested energy in moving forward. But when you look at the past value, that value is still controlled by the majority of people who are the contributors of that token. Does that make sense? Right? So we are currently in
Perfectly
the
says.
what leap year? I can't remember exactly. We're in the I think we're in the 98-degree west leap year, right? And it's a leap cycle, right? So the leap cycle or leap era is 2.5 years long, and so that 2.5 years we are currently accumulating value with, right? Laura has tokens in that network equity. So does Albina, other people who were here at the beginning. But anyway, so the people who are going to be here for the most amount of time during that 2.5 years, even when we go into the next 2.5 years and when we project into the next equal distribution of power, the value of the money of the old token will always be controlled by the network equity shareholders, who are basically the people who have the most value of that token. So in terms of deciding where that token gets backing into, what other back pay it goes into, who gets paid out of that pool of money as it gains value and as it evolves, is not up to the new people. They have to make decisions in alignment with the old people, because that entire value will be blocked. Right? It'll be blocked and no longer go into the future. In the past, it'll be blocked for that 2.5 years and be connected into the bigger trajectories of value of the whole network. Anyways, we need to go on a break, but hopefully that makes sense in terms of the power and the decision making of the network equity. But I think the most important thing is deciding where the value goes to. So if you're going to use the power token to back other tokens, that would be a decision that would be made by the holders of the power of the network equity token. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this we can take the break. We can discuss a little bit, a couple of questions more.
Cool. And we're going to be wrapping up for sure. We're going to look at the next step. So
you don't want to finish the topic quickly?
What?
You don't want to finish the topic quickly after the break?
Yeah, well, we can wrap up the topic and then wrap up the session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wrap up the topic. Yeah.
So we do topic wrap up when we get back, and then we can get into the overall wrap up. But we're starting our break late, so I think we should still do a
2 minutes
5
break.
minute break.
We should do 2 minute break this case, right?
How about 3 minutes? 3 minute break.
3 minutes.
Okay.